Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 138 of Classic Elite. My name is Scott. I'll be hosting tonight, and I've got Dustin and Josh with me. What's going on, guys?
We're all here. We got a ton of news.
Yes.
Yeah.
And we're going to have the show a little out of sorts this week. Josh is only going to be with us for about a half an hour or so. So what we're going to do is get into what we've been playing. I've got a quick announcement, and then Dustin and I are going to talk about a whole bunch of news at the end of the show. Batman Arkham Knight PC requirements, Silent Hill stuff, Konami, maybe a new Castlevania. So a lot of cool stuff that we'll be talking about. So yeah, I guess before we get into the show stuff, Dustin, man, how are you doing? It's been like 2 weeks since I've talked to you.
Yeah, we went all that time being consistent and no news, and then we took a break for a week, and then all kinds of news broke out.
Yeah, right. That's exactly how I felt. Josh, what about you, man? Anything new?
I've converted to the Church of iPhone.
Oh my God,
Of Apple.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah. See, I got it right here. Look, see.
Oh, so you haven't been?
snap.
I have. You got it all fired up and stuff, or is it?
Yeah, it's up. I still got to do the rest on it, but
It's
Man, that thing's
huge,
huge.
man.
I know it's 6 Plus. It's smaller than my Note, and I just noticed I have a lot of messages here. It's been in the box because I don't have a real case for it, or I didn't until right before the show here about a couple hours ago. But yeah, no, went in, signed a contract, big family plan, made some guy a whole bunch of commission, and he's now our best friend. You sign up a family of 5 on new iPhones, and you just gave some, guy's kid,
College tuition,
College.
pretty much.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think. What would I call that? College tuition? Sure. Yeah.
That's awesome,
We'll assume
man.
he
Well,
could-
actually, it's not awesome. I'm disappointed that I've lost my brother in droidism.
Yeah.
I'm
well,
alone
I
now.
still have the Note. Which is actually throwing a warning at me here.
Yeah, it's saying I detect Apple crap. I detect Apple crap.
Proximity
Oh
warning.
gosh.
Yeah.
It is these Hello Cutie Honey 4473. I would like to add you on Skype.
I've
Those
been getting a lot of
messages.
Skype spam lately.
Yeah, it's annoying.
It's been weird. Yeah, absolutely.
She sounds hot.
Yeah. Based on screen name alone. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I say Apple crap, but by all accounts, it seems like the 6 and 6 Plus are really good phones.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, it was the thing about getting us all on one ecosystem. A little easier to help the kids with their phones when I understand what's going on with it.
Mm-hmm.
And they cut us a deal. We got, I won't say how much I'm paying. I told Scott earlier, and I'll tell you, Dustin, off air or something, but it's a lot. But they were like, well, you're doing all this stuff, so here's an iPad Air. Take this. Thanks.
Oh, you got an iPad too with all that?
Yeah.
Oh,
No
hell
extra. Yeah. Included in the bundle and unlimited data on everything. So,
Oh, you even get data on the iPad.
yeah.
Oh, that is wicked, especially when you're traveling.
Yeah. What's
Nice,
that?
dude.
Oh, my girlfriend said don't be jealous
I am.
Too late.
so.
of our blazing 3G speeds.
Only
well,
3G.
right now.
Okay.
In this area. Now, if I go to a larger city, like when I go to Cincinnati or even Huntington, half an hour away, I'll be on LTE.
Okay, gotcha.
But in terms of Ashland, I'm not covered yet.
Okay. That's a
Yeah.
bummer. Ashland's not that small.
No, I thought we were all right, but
So-
yeah, we just don't have it yet.
So guys, I went to Rhode Island.
Oh, yeah.
And the wedding
Yeah.
was unbelievable. It was really cool. I had not been to Rhode Island before. I think I said that last week. And I don't know, man. It was a really good ceremony. It was a really fun reception. A lot of my friends from grade school were there. We lost Josh.
No,
And
I'm
he's
here.
back. And he's back.
Yeah, that's
So-
right.
But yeah, Rhode Island was cool. But I didn't really get to do much by way of video games. So get this. You know how some airplanes have Wi-Fi now?
Mhm.
It doesn't support Netflix or HBO Go. So it's kind of like, what the hell's the point of Wi-Fi then on an airplane?
No, man. I guess if you want to like send an email.
You can send an email. I think you could play Hearthstone, which would be cool.
There you have it.
But my flights were relatively small or short, so it didn't make sense for me to pay $10 for an hour's worth of Hearthstone. I could save that and get like 10 packs of cards.
Yeah, true.
Or 7 packs or whatever it is. So, yeah, Rhode Island was cool. But yeah, as far as video game stuff, I didn't really get to do a whole lot. But luckily, I did get to do a lot outside of last weekend, so we'll have plenty to talk about there. And the one thing that was a bit of a bummer as far as traveling was concerned, I got real excited because the Providence, Rhode Island airport had an arcade in it. I was like,
Sweet.
oh, hell yeah, this would be cool. It was one of the saddest arcades I've ever seen.
Boo.
You should have saw the multi-cade that they had in there. So they took an old Neo Geo cabinet, which was neat, and put in these really generic rip-off games. So you know how Atari would have Defender on it, or Defenders or whatever, or Space Invader or something like that, and then like ColecoVision would have something with a similar title, and it would be a ripoff of the game, and it wouldn't quite be the same.
Like Cosmic Intruders.
Yeah, exactly, something like that. That's all that was in this arcade cabinet. So it was kind of like, oh, that's a bummer. And it was token based, not quarter based. So I had to like pay for tokens. Yeah, I thought I was gonna have a really cool story to tell about how I killed time on a layover or waiting for my flight, playing arcade games, but that's not the case. So before we jump into, like I said, we're going to change things up a little bit this week. So before we get into what Josh has been doing and an email from our good friend Mike T, I wanted to make a quick announcement, and that is we're going to be on SoundCloud now. So if you are someone like myself that enjoys getting their music through SoundCloud, you'll be able to start getting our podcast. Thank you to our advertising overlords. We have a pro account, so we should be able to upload as much of our podcasts as we want. I don't think I'm going to go through and upload the whole archive to SoundCloud, but I do think that I'll start uploading them moving forward, kind of like what we've been doing with YouTube. So
Word.
if SoundCloud's a place where you like to consume audio media, make sure to follow us. It's just soundcloud.com/classicleet. So it's classic L337. But yeah, guys, let's talk about some video games. I'm going to start by reading Mike's email because, well, it's related to Bloodborne. And
Yeah.
that's what we're going to be talking about. So he says his email title is Bloodborne Identity, and the fact I'm stressing that will make sense here in a second. The email says, Josh, Dustin, Scott, how come you guys never read my subject lines? They are pure gold. I think we do sometimes, don't we?
Yeah.
So
Not all the time, but
not all the time. And I do want to say something. Like 2 or 3 emails ago, there was a no subject from Mike.
Maybe that was the subject line. He wrote in no subject.
He wrote in no subject. Ooh, that's Inception stuff right there.
It's
But,
all a dream.
It's all a dream. Word Up Magazine. So anyways, he goes, anyway, I beat Bloodborne. I got the true ending, I guess. I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll do my best not to give anything away. I'm really hoping Josh is on the show when you read this, since he's the only one that's played the game so far. Actually, Dustin, have you played it? Question mark?
I have not.
So he goes on to say, I have a lot to say about it, so I'm really looking forward to what Josh has to say. I'll probably talk about it on this week's Cartoon Retrocast, which, as a side note, I'm excited to listen to. I just downloaded that while I was golfing. And bottom line is that I loved it, and it's probably the best game I've played this year. Anyways, there's a link to the craziest boss fight I had while playing. There's no real spoilers except for the mechanics of the boss fight. So don't watch it if you want to avoid everything having to do with Bloodborne. I guess that's it for now. I'm looking forward to hearing the show. Mike T. And then he has an awesome picture where I think he edited in Matt Damon with the like cleaver. I don't know.
Saw cleaver.
Yeah, what the hell's that giant axe thing from Bloodborne?
I don't have the email pulled up, but that's the axe like that's on the cover.
Yeah,
and stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's a perfect segue into Josh. What you've been playing is Bloodborne. So let's start at the beginning. What do you like about it? And then tell us whatever else you want to from there.
I like everything about Bloodborne, and I hate everything about Bloodborne all at once. It is the ultimate love-hate relationship. What I love about it is it's the aesthetic. The whole game has this great, like, early Europe Victorian look and feel to it. Mm-hmm. But it's also very, I mean, people say it all the time now, very Lovecraftian in the monsters and enemies you're fighting. They're just horrific things that, you just, someone with some true talent and deep disturbing issues designed all the monsters in this game. But yeah, it's good.
The little bit I've seen, the art direction of the enemies is really almost disturbing. Like,
yeah, at times.
They creep me out, kind of like Slender Man creeps me out. Mm-hmm. Or the what are those things called that wrap around you from Ocarina of Time?
Zelda?
Yeah. You know those like, you know what I'm talking about? No. What the guys are called? No, those like, they're
Epona.
No, they're like the scary things. They like freak you out when you're like an adult. Like, it's the first enemy you run into when you exit the Temple of Time.
BiffMcSkylark says the Screamers.
The Screamers, there you go.
Okay.
How are you guys not getting this?
I don't. It's been a long time.
Do you not have any idea what you have a lost look on your face.
I don't remember this, but my son would. I could go ask him right now, and he would tell me it's the Screamers, and he would pull out his Encyclopedia Zelda, the big guidebook, and just like thumb to the page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need you're fired. We need to have Malachi on.
He knows more than I do now. It's crazy. He started playing Skyrim and Oblivion.
Oh, damn. So he's getting into big boy games.
Yeah, like hardcore. Like I go to work one day and he's telling me about this one quest, and I come back the next day and he's completed 3 guild lines and he's halfway through the story, and I'm like, man, I wish I was 11 again.
Yeah, no kidding.
Redead?
What's Redead?
I think that's what they're called. They're for real names.
Oh, okay. I like Screamers because that's what they do. Scream. So, Josh, as far as the difficulty is concerned, you've played Souls games before.
Yeah.
So how'd this one compare?
I think it's right up there on par with the games. And in some ways it makes it easier, in other ways it makes it more difficult. So the big thing in this one, the big change is there is no like real shield in the game. Like there's one shield and it's sort of a joke item, but you're not blocking. You can't depend on that like you would in Dark Souls or even Demon Souls. You're more often having to rely on dodging, and you're also having to parry a lot more.
Okay.
Which I say parry, but it's really a matter of like in Dark Souls, an enemy would attack you and you would time this like knock away with your shield. Dustin knows what I'm talking about, right? Like you would, yeah, and you would knock the enemy's hand up in the air and you'd stab them, and it would do a ton of damage. Bloodborne has that, except you're shooting the gun at that exact moment, and it staggers them, and then you stab them, does a bunch of damage.
Nice.
So, yeah, and then the other thing is like, it seems that monsters, because you're wearing like light armor the whole game, like it is. You're not really getting suits of armor, and, you're not looking like a knight so much as you are a hunter, like in leather armor. So what it does is you take more damage from the hits, generally. Like you can hit, it hurts a lot, but it's like a fighting game in that you can attack back really quickly after you've been hit that monster again, and regain some of that health.
Gotcha. Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but if you take too long, it's gone.
So you have to strike, just time it out perfectly then.
Yeah, like Dark Souls, a lot of times it was a matter of just holding your shield and, slowly waiting on them to hit you and, get that opportunity to strike back, or you would try to circle, that's what everyone did. You would try to circle around them and stab them in the back. Like that was the Dark Souls way.
Yeah.
which Bloodborne gets rid of that completely in the way that to do that you have to do a complete full charge attack first. So you can't just do it in the middle of a fight. There's not enough time.
And then there's like a kind of a cooldown period with the animation, right? So you can't just quickly jump or roll behind them in the back and stab them in the back, right?
Yeah.
Like
Once
you
you
have to unwind it, if you will.
Yeah, because you commit to that animation and you're in it and you do it, and then you have to wait for them to go back to their normal position before you can dodge or do anything. And at the same time, because you're required to do that big wind-up attack, it generally takes a ton of your stamina, leaving you unable to dodge
Gotcha.
like you would want to. Yeah.
Cool.
But it's cool. And the thing that the other thing that's really different is they have these transforming weapons in the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like all the melee weapons have 2 modes, and it's usually like short range, long range. And it's just a nice mix-up. It's like every weapon you get, it's like you get 2 weapons in one every time.
That's cool. Yeah, I remember you telling us about the tombstone axe thing.
Yeah, the Kirk hammer.
Yeah, when you first started the game.
Yeah, it was like a little sword, and then it turned to like this big 2-handed hammer. And then now I've got like a little sword that you can like, stab with.
Mm-hmm.
And then the sheath is a giant sword. So you stick this little sword in a bigger sword, and now you have a great sword.
I just picture like the Final Fantasy VII sword when people talk about putting a sword in the sheath.
That's exactly what it looks like. It's ridiculous.
Sweet.
And I love it. Yeah, it's cool. It's like there's just something about like it's different. It's not like between Demon Souls and Dark Souls, it didn't change a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there are a lot of changes, but not like fundamental gameplay changes like sweeping across the entire game.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Did now listening to the Bombcast, Jeff Gerstmann was talking about developing bad habits because some of the enemies are really weak, so you can just go in and just kind of mow them over, and then before you know it, you're up against somebody that your bad habits are really going to cost you. Do you run into, or have you had that experience?
Oh yeah. There are a couple optional areas in the game you can go to, and they're big. They're not little. They're huge, and when you're getting up to that point, you're doing that. You're just slaughtering all the guys in your path. You're used to them. They're weak little enemies, and then you go to these secret areas, and everything kills you in 2 hits.
Okay.
Like they just lay down the hammer on you. Same thing for the bosses in dungeons. They do the exact same thing.
So when you die, how punishing is it? Because that was one of the things that I took away from hearing people talk about the Souls games, was that death could be really punishing when you lose all your souls. And so you have that gamble of, do I keep going? Do I look for a campfire?
Yeah.
Is that mechanic still in there? Like the
No,
punishment?
it's no. That's what I like that a lot. Actually, there is no like life and death mechanic. Like in those games, in the previous games, you would die. Actually, it's so hard to explain. Dustin could do a better job, but correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're alive, and then when you die, you're dead again, and you take a penalty to your health, right?
Yeah, in Demon Souls, it was you would be alive until you were killed, and when you came back, you were hollow.
Yeah.
And when you were hollow, you had you only had half your life unless you put on the clean ring, in which case you got 3/4 of your life. With Dark Souls, you would start human, die, become hollow, and the only difference there was that you couldn't summon or be invaded.
Yeah.
But you still had all your life.
It's just funny to me how convoluted that sounds, but I understand exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, it makes sense when you're playing the game, but to describe the mechanic, it just sounds funny.
And it's and this is similar in somewhat of a way. Like you die, and there is no penalty to your health. There's no hollow or living states. You just die and you come back, right?
Mm-hmm.
And all is great, right? The bummer is where they make it difficult is there are certain like enemies in the campaign that ring these bells, because the whole thing about the multiplayer in this one's all about bells. There's a beckoning bell I ring to get people to come help me. There's a resonant bell that I use to go help other people, and there's a sinister bell when you want to be a jerk and go PvP and hunt people down. When you ring a bell to call someone in your world to help you, that invites someone to help you and potentially enemy players to invade as well.
Oh, gotcha. I didn't realize. I thought this was a single player only campaign. I didn't know that there was a multiplayer element to it.
There is, yeah. What happens is you summon someone with you, and they're with you pretty much until you defeat a boss, and at that point they go back to their game, and you would have to resummon them or do whatever, right?
Gotcha.
But I got off topic here because explaining that this will make more sense. There are enemies in the game who also ring bells. All right, there are these sinister ladies, and they're real nasty. So they ring the bell. Like this will be the single player area. Like you're trying to complete the story, and you hear this bell ringing, and it's summoning enemies into your game, like enemy players. So they can just jump in and go attack you.
Is it randomized when that happens?
No, there are set points in the game where it happens. But the enemies will come and attack you. The players will, and you'll have to defeat them. And they'll keep coming in until you kill that lady. Which
gotcha.
Holly ran into a major problem that It didn't happen to me, but she had someone camp in front of the lady. Like some guy just sat there in the world in front of that lady. So it would say, you've been invaded, and then she'd be like, oh crap, I got to go kill that lady because it'll make him go away.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy's just standing there. And what happened was she beat that guy like 3 or 4 times until he finally quit. Like he killed the lady himself.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It's cool. And because we had it happen like one time, the way it works is you set passwords to join people you know, which that's a real big... It's a real big bonus to this game is that you can set a password, ring your bells, and you can only join with people who have the same password as you, right?
Cool.
What we were doing is we were using the password WONG, Wong. It was just funny, right?
Sure.
Apparently someone else had that password, and I got summoned into a game with 2 other people that beat the crap out of me. That's so... We've since made it much more complicated, but it's neat.
Right.
Like it's just
at least
cool.
10 characters, no dictionary words,
Uppercase, lowercase.
symbols.
You need to take those extremes.
You know what would be fun is to just try random small words to try to get into games. Like if you're like tree or sure or
yeah. And I'm sure it would work. I mean, you can set it to like a worldwide search base and do it. It happened to me, and we were just like, we were thinking, what jerks, they're sitting there waiting on us. But I'm thinking, no, they're probably thinking, who is this jerk coming into my game?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're like the troll, like invading a Minecraft server or something like that.
Yeah, no troll. They beat the snot out of me.
They didn't let you troll.
No way. It was over before it started. And that multiplayer thing also carries over to the dungeons. Like they have this randomized dungeon thing, very much like Rogue Legacy.
Okay.
Where it's like a series of rooms connected, Zelda style. Like you have to lift this door open and then you go in. But they're all connected and they're random. But the rooms you kind of have a general idea of what types of monsters will be in them and the layouts.
Okay.
Because you're like, oh, this is the cathedral room, or oh, this is the room with the big temple in the middle, or this is the room with the spiral staircase.
That does sound a lot like Rogue Legacy.
Yeah.
Because you know, depending on what part of the castle you're in, what general enemies you're going to experience. Cool.
Yeah, and that's all in there. But when you're in there, that's my Kentucky accent coming out. When you're in those, the loot is random. Like you can actually get different versions of the single player weapons in that mode. Mm-hmm. You can also get enhancements like gems and runes to apply to your character that are powerful and random.
Nice.
So it's neat. Like it has a ton, like absolute ton of replayability.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, awesome, man. Dustin, hearing what Josh has to say, I guess what are your thoughts? Is it making you like itch to play the game?
Yeah, it's been a long time since I played a Souls game. So.
It is a Souls game. There's no bones about it. That is exactly what it is.
That's awesome. And yeah, you said you really like the aesthetics a lot, right? Like, as far as like the visual presentation and all of that.
Yeah, I really dig it. The bummer is I don't think it holds up as well on New Game Plus as the Souls games do. Like the areas aren't as varied in the single player. But man, is it gorgeous! It is packed with detail.
How long do you think it took you or Holly to get through the campaign, if you were to estimate?
I'd probably say about 60 hours or so.
Holy crap!
But I mean, that's a lot of dying and beating your face against the wall. Sometimes literally because a monster's beating your face against the wall, and doing optional areas. Like there are a couple optional areas in the game, and like I said, they're massive. Like there is a, I mean, it's going to spoil a little bit here. So if you don't want to know just the layout,
skip ahead like 2 minutes.
Yeah, or just a minute. Like it's not even that long. There's a giant castle.
Okay.
Like we go there and like we know this is an optional area. We heard about it because that's the fun of these games is just kind of being there when it's all happening and learning it and talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
So me and her figured out how to get to this area, and we're like, well, it's the first optional area. How bad could it be? And it's like full on Castlevania. We're like, whoa, this is huge, and everything's really really hard.
Cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's easily my game of the year right now.
Nice.
Sweet.
Easily. And yeah, and the crazy thing is Holly is doing so much better than I am in the game. I mean, I'm inviting her to my game over and over to try to help me kill monsters.
Now,
That's cool.
have you guys? Is this the kind of game? Because I mean, I haven't played a Souls game that like FAQs are helpful, or have you had to consult any?
Just a little bit, mainly to figure out how a certain item works or something.
Okay.
That's been about the extent of it. But now that we've beaten it, in single player mode, we've gone back and we're looking through the guide and just learning about all the different monsters and stuff, because some of the ones in the dungeons and such have modifiers to them, and we just can't quite figure it out. We're like, I can't kill this guy. And then you read a little bit and you're like, oh, that's what that thing does. I can use that thing.
Nice. So, it's very cool.
Yeah.
So outside of Bloodborne, have you been playing anything else, or is it pretty much Bloodborne?
That's been the largest game, like that's been most of my time lately.
Mm-hmm.
I'll throw out there, I put a couple things on a note here. I played a little bit of that Never Alone game that was free on PS Plus a while back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty good. It's the one where you're the like Native American girl, and it has all this like Native American lore to it. And it's pretty good. I would recommend it if you got it.
Scott, that's the one I was telling you about that had the documentary.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's really good.
Sweet.
And then I don't want to say too much because it's all about the experience. And then outside of that, I've been playing a fair bit of Xenoblade Chronicles on the 3DS.
Yeah. How? I have two big questions around that one. The first one is it fun, and the second one is how does it run?
It's really fun. It runs really well. It just doesn't look all that great.
Oh,
At times.
really?
At times it looks pretty well. But generally speaking, it's very... I don't know. It's a much lower resolution than the Wii
Yeah. So you're
version. It's very pixelated, very jaggy in spots.
Now you're not much of a, or you weren't much of a 3D user before, right?
Right.
What about now that you have the new 3DS?
I turn it on from time to time. I actually think it helps the visuals in Xenoblade a bit. It kind of... I don't know if it's me, but it seems like sometimes when you turn the 3D on, it almost kind of blurs some of the jagged edges.
Yeah, that's what I was actually getting to. Is I've been playing Super Mario 3D Land here and there,
Yeah.
and I noticed that it looks really pixelated when I turn the 3D off. But when I have it on, that it's not like it rounds out. The pixelation's still there if you look for it. Like you still get that screen door effect.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I don't know. It feels better.
Yeah.
Or it has a better look to it. Like I don't know. Like it just doesn't seem as jaggy when the 3D's on.
Yeah, I mean, it actually looks a little better. And I don't know if it's just because of the 3D effect, it does something, or if it's just ruining our eyeballs like, we've been told. But yeah, no, it definitely helps. The thing with Xenoblade and even Monster Hunter, which are both fantastic games, but there's just too much going on. Like there's too much variation in the color palettes, and the worlds are just huge, and it's hard to look at for a long time in 3D.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Yeah, so that's been pretty much it for you the last couple of weeks. Or no, you haven't been on the show in like a month or so.
I know, it's crazy. I've been really busy, and I got to cut out here in about 5 minutes. But yeah, that's it. I mean, we've really just been playing a lot of Bloodborne. But hopefully, come next week, or actually maybe the week after that, I'll be talking about some Project Cars and some Witcher 3.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So
I'll be looking forward to hearing what your thoughts are on Witcher 3. Because I've heard rumors about the scope of that game, and it just seems enormous to the point where I'm just terrified of it. I've heard
I should
200
be.
some hours
yeah.
as a rumor.
It's-
That's ridiculous.
I know I've got too much going on right now with my backlog being like Inquisition and now Xenoblade and Bloodborne is just it's time consuming. And Destiny has their big expansion. I'm putting quotations here. Expansion coming out very soon. But there's no raid, so I don't care. No, I don't raid at all. I'm actually kind of looking forward to it. So a lot coming down the pipe. So I'll try to be on more and talk a whole lot about why I'm broke and how much fun I'm having.
Well, you're
Mostly
broke
how I'm
because
broke.
you basically have a mortgage payment for your cell phone bills now for the family.
Oh, it's absurd. It's absurd. But you can see I do it all for these kids here.
Oh yeah.
She gave me her phone. This is sweet. I was just telling her to come over and show her face off. So, oh,
Getting yelled at. So
yeah.
well, good deal, man. I'm glad that you were able to. I know that today's been crazy for you, so definitely glad that you were able to still come on the show and talk about Bloodborne, because it's been kind of a running thing the last few episodes with Dustin and I. Is it's like, damn it, like I wish Josh was here. I really want to hear about Bloodborne.
I know. Well, see, I've been playing it sometimes even while you guys are casting because I can't be here or I can't be on the mic. But then I'm like, oh, it's right there, and I start
Yeah.
playing away. But yeah, I'll be on more, and I'm almost done. Like once we get all the platinum, the platinum trophy.
Mm-hmm.
I say we're done because we're doing this as a team.
That's cool.
Like last night. Yeah. It's exactly what it is. It's almost like an MMO. Like we're in the car this morning, taking my son to school testing, because it's state testing this week, and we were talking about our strategies. How I'm going to jump in her game and help her kill the monster, and then she's going to jump in my game and help me kill the monster, and then we can both proceed to the last monster of the dungeon and kill him in one game, then the other game, and it's this back and forth. And it just reminds me of being in Final Fantasy 11 way back when, talking about like, okay, guys, we're going to Sky. I never went to Sky, but I'm going to pretend I did. If people played Final Fantasy 11, they know what I'm talking about. We're going to go to Sky and kill the gods. And it was like a 6-hour excursion.
Nice, dude.
Yeah.
See, you're lucky, Dustin. Are you envious of this? Because your wife doesn't play a lot of games, right? You're kind of on your own island there.
A little bit, yeah.
It's cool, but I'll say this. Like, I was talking to my boss at work the other day about this, and he was like, it's great. He's like, but you have to buy 2 of everything now. I said, yeah. And then he said, but you know what the real bummer is? I said, what? And he's like, the first one's always hers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so when we get a game, and I'm cool with this, but she opens it first, plays it first, unless we're doing it at the exact same time.
Yeah. Well, now that you each have your own 3DS, 3DS games are cool because a lot of them have that download and play feature.
Yeah.
So a lot of them you only need the one copy, especially if you're going to do some like local stuff, like Mario Kart or something like that.
Oh yeah, we're definitely doing that. Final Fantasy Explorers we're both really excited about, and then Xenoblade Chronicles whenever it comes out, hopefully sometime this year on Wii U. That has a big co-op thing, which you guys should jump into that because it's 4-person parties. Go hunt some big monsters.
I got it. You said Monster Hunter, right?
Well, there's Monster Hunter.
Xenoblade?
There's Xenoblade, yeah. I think I mentioned Monster Hunter as a game we could play together on 3DS, but Xenoblade on Wii U will be a game we could all play together.
Okay.
It has 4-person co-op.
I might be interested in that. I haven't dug into a good RPG in quite a while, not since Pure Solar. So I guess I'm ready for one. So cool, man. Well, I know you said you got to get going, so I won't hold you up anymore. Cool. For our YouTube listeners, I will try to make this transition as smooth as possible. And for our audio-only listeners, I'll play some sort of a NES tone right now. So
Yeah. So
any last thoughts, Josh, before I let you go?
No, just want to say, Mike T, what's up? I got your message on PSN. We talked about it this week. And you should hit me up on Bloodborne if you want to do some dungeons or something, man. And then I want to thank you guys for letting me come on here briefly. And I apologize for the extra work I put onto everyone to get the show edited.
Hey, no, it's all good, man. It's well worth it. I would rather go through the hassle of trying to get it to all work to have you on for half an hour than to not have you on at all. So
That's real friendship.
yeah, so fuck yeah. Absolutely. Now I'm gonna hang up on you.
Okay, Scott Johnson style.
Yeah, exactly. Bye, Daryl.
Wait, Star Trek.
And Josh is gone. So now we can get into the real show. If Biff is still listening, I wonder if he's at work or if he's at home. Because if he's at yeah, because he could totally just join us if he wanted. You know what? Screw it. The way that it looks right now is okay. This is gonna drive me nuts. So, Dustin, you know the layout that we have for our YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
It right now I'm listed under Josh, and then Scott is completely blank. So
Biff says he's at home.
Oh, he's at home. Does he want to join? Whoops. If he does, send something in the chat, and we'll get him in here in a second. So, Dustin, man, now the floor is ours, essentially. So should I try to make the transition, or should I just roll with a screwed-up graphic for the rest of the show? I think I should maybe make the transition. What do you think?
Yeah, try it out.
Okay. Let's see here.
And Biff is down.
Oh, okay. Well, then...
Well, you asked, do you want to join? And he says, or he asks rather, do Americans love bacon?
Well, then there we go. Okay, now they are all screwed up. So, what I will do then is, let's keep the stream going. Dave will be here in just a second.
He says, give me 1 second. I need to get a silent room.
Oh, okay. And I am going to try a gamble here. I wonder if... Oh my gosh, you can do that? I wonder if you can rearrange... You can. Cool. All right. So I have a setup for 4 of us. Anyways, all right. So we'll have Dave here in just a second. So cool, because he'll have some really good stuff to say about all the news that we have going on.
Yeah.
So while we're waiting on him, I'm not sure what we should do. Go ahead and try to add him. Oh my goodness.
Just give me 1 second. Trying to get to the side.
No problem, dude. Actually, I'm going to hang up and call us all back.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Do, 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 do.
Just getting like an express tour of my house. Oh, there's no light. There's no light. I can't see. Spooky. I can't see. There we go.
Oh, that is spooky. This is like found footage, man.
Yeah. Who's that behind you?
So, well, cool. Dustin, guess what? Pamela's acting up.
Oh, Pam.
She's back. So,
Oh, okay.
well, everything seems to be still going good. So, again, our YouTube listeners apologize for the chaoticness here, but luckily we're going to be able to have our friend join us and take Josh's spot. Out of the sake of being lazy, Dave's going to be occupying Josh's space on the graphic. So,
I'm Josh.
you're Josh now.
When you get like when you edit it together, you can just put just have some text that says "not," and then put it beside Josh.
There's no editing the video stuff, dude. You get a raw recording and that is it. So
Kicking a retro league style. I like it.
yeah, absolutely. I'll edit the audio version for people, but if you want to sit through the YouTube stuff and look at us, then you're gonna be stuck with the way that it is. So awesome. I think that we are about set.
Oh.
What? You got some bad news?
No, Twitch. I'm looking at our Twitch stream, and there's an ad for a new biscuit taco at Taco Bell.
What's wrong with the biscuit taco at Taco Bell? Just the fact that it's ridiculous?
It's a biscuit taco?
I was listening to a podcast, the morning stream, and they said that those were both terms for women parts when they were in high school. And we've got Cloverfield happening under Josh's name right now, which is crazy. So, all right, well, Dustin, let's get back into the show.
Ready?
And Dave will jump in and we'll have him introduce himself when he gets his stuff squared away. But the first thing that I wanted to talk about was Batman Arkham Asylum's PC requirements. So it's kind of the lightest news. And, there's the bearded man. There's the bearded man. Right?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Alright, let me just... Sorry, I'm using laptop camera because my actual cam is hidden somewhere in boxes.
No, that's fine. You look fine, so... alright, dude.
Thank you.
Dustin, I don't know if you've ever talked with Biff outside of, so everyone, this is BiffMcSkylark, our friend Dave. He's been a fan of the show for a long time and a good friend of mine on the internet, so I definitely appreciate, but have you guys ever chatted before?
I don't believe so. I think it's the first time.
I feel like we... Actually, no, I don't know if it was you, it might have been Josh, I don't remember. The Diablo 3 playthrough that didn't record. Back in the
Oh,
day.
that's
I don't remember
right.
If it was you or Josh.
It was Josh.
Yeah.
It was Josh. So, well, Dave, welcome, man. This is like a year in the making, trying to get you on.
I know.
So
It's been tough. It's been tough. My current living situation makes podcasting difficult. So,
well, glad we could have you join us. So, you're not going to have the luxury of having our show notes up, so we'll kind of walk you through the new stuff here. But do you want to tell our listeners a little bit about yourself before we jump into news?
I mean, I just love our video games. Hi, my name's Dave. Just been my hobby since I was little. I mean, from the earliest I know of myself having a controller in my hand is a home video of me at 1 or 2 years old screaming at a TV while playing Karate Kid on the NES. I was like literally in kind of like a cradle chair, and I was just like, it's ridiculous.
That's funny.
So it's just I've just played them all my life.
Cool.
I do Twitch. I'm getting really heavily into live streaming these days. Twitch.tv/BiffMcSkylark. Shameless plug.
No, plug away, dude.
Yeah. That's a major thing I've been into. I mean, I've bounced all over the place. I've never actually worked in the industry. Everything that I've done has always just been self-sustained, just stuff I've done on social media, mostly Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
I've always just kind of just been into gaming, always wanted to be a bigger part of the community kind of thing.
Sure.
And definitely been a thing that's happened a lot more in the last 2 or 3 years. A little bit of a hiatus until I moved and got settled, but, just,
Nice.
How I met you guys and a bunch of other great people, so.
Yeah, the gaming community is pretty cool, despite what you read as far as internet rage goes. In general, the community is pretty cool, so.
That stuff.
Well, dude, let's get into talking about Batman Arkham Knight. So, I looked at the PC requirements and thought, oh shit, I need to buy a new graphics card.
I need a new PC.
Dustin, have you taken a look at the requirements?
Mm-mm.
They recommend a minimum of 8 gig or a minimum of 6 gigs of regular RAM. They think that your graphics card should have 3 gigabytes of RAM in it.
Okay.
They recommend, I think, 4 gigabytes in your graphics card and 8 gigabytes in your system. So having your system require 8 gigabytes is kind of unheard of in gaming. Normally, for like big texture packs and stuff, that's fine. But to run the normal game, they are going for 8 gigabytes. And usually it's been around, we're used to about 4 things maxing out, So I thought, oh crap, I don't know. I'm not actually going to get a new graphics card for it, but it's going to be a bummer that just 2 years ago I built my PC and I'm already hitting that tier of medium settings. I'm a medium settings minion now.
Do like home versions of Windows even support greater than 8 gigabytes right now? Like do 8 or 10 support more than 8?
I'm pretty sure that Windows 7 Home Premium supports up to 16 gig.
Okay.
So there's still enough room there. And I think Windows 8 can support up to 128. 8.1.
Hey, but you get free Windows 10.
You do also with Windows 7.
Yes, you do.
Which is cool. I'm definitely going to hold off on that upgrade for as long as possible to let other people go through the trouble of that conversion so that they can like patch some new stuff in. Because I've got Windows 10 on a spare PC here, and it's neat, but I'm not confident that it's going to upgrade really well from Windows 7. So, I don't know. It was the Batman Arkham Knight trailer looked really cool. Did you guys check it out at all?
I haven't seen any trailers on it recently.
Dave, you watched any of them?
Which one are we talking about? The one where they like showed it with like teaming up with Nightwing and Robin and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm super stoked for that game. I actually totally avoided Origins. I love City. Arkham City is hands down my favorite. I avoided Origins because most people told me it was pretty much the same thing as City, just not the same, I guess.
It was kind of like a bland version. Like, do you ever have your mom cook something and you just really like the way that it is, and then you try to make it yourself, and it's like, yeah, this is kind of the same.
Yeah.
But it's not. That's kind of what Origins was like versus Arkham Asylum and City.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Just kind of like a blander version, not quite right, but still felt familiar. So.
No, Arkham Knight, I'm definitely really excited for. They can push that game back as much as they want, as long as it comes out and it's great, since it's supposed to be the last one.
Yeah.
They can take as much time as they want. I want it to be great. I'll probably pick it up for my PS4. Big AAA games or something I typically tend to avoid on PC. I typically will just buy those for the console.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of what my 2 cents about Arkham Knight is. I just thought, oh crap, I'm gonna need a new graphics card, but boy, am I excited for that game.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dustin, haven't had a chance to really get you talking much this episode, so now it is going to be a Dustin heavy episode from here on out. Because this news is like all stuff right up your alley.
Okay.
Holy crap! All right, Silent Hills is no more. I think that's old news at this point. But this is kind of a result of the kerfuffle from Kojima being forced out. And there's actually a really good video by a guy named George Weidman. He does a YouTube channel called Super Bunny Hop.
Okay.
He did a video on all this going on, and it's from sources that wanted to remain anonymous.
Okay.
So you can take it with as much salt as you deem necessary. But
2 grains this time.
Yeah, he went into some pretty good detail about like what has happened and what could be happening. But yeah, Kojima is gone, and Silent Hills is no more. This has been confirmed from both Guillermo del Toro and Norman Reedus. After
Those tweets made me so sad.
yeah, Guillermo
Guillermo.
Guillermo del Toro.
Guillermo del Toro. Yeah.
His tweet said, "It breaks my greasy heart, but Silent Hills is no more," or something to that effect. I just love he has a greasy heart. But after I saw this, I saw the news on Giant Bomb, so I went to. After I saw that, it also said that 29th PT was coming off of PSN.
Yeah.
So you couldn't go and download it, but
I never downloaded it.
you couldn't like go and download it, but if you already had it and you deleted it, you could re-download it. That's typically how they do if something gets pulled from the online stores. But then later I think it was yesterday, Alex Navarro from Giant Bomb posted that it is gone.
Yeah.
It is scrubbed from PSN, and I even got a message from PlayStation Network saying like, "Hey, if you have it on your PS4, you can play it, but if you delete it, it is gone forever." Gone forever. And if you have a
something
PS,
to add to that.
yeah, go for it.
It was I think I just saw it. I don't know if you saw it yet, but I just saw it like an hour ago. They're taking down because people are like selling their PS4s with it on the hard drive for like buku bucks. eBay is actively taking down those listings now.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It's reminding me of people losing their minds over Flappy Bird selling hardware. I know, but it's true. Like people selling hardware with a little software. I'm sorry to make the comparison. I know it hurts you.
No, it's absolutely true. It's unreal, like the stuff that happens with that. I mean, I was watching a video about stuff that gets taken down off the network and like how you don't really like actually own stuff. And did you know that Scott Pilgrim the game was taken off PSN and Xbox Live?
No.
Huh.
I had no idea.
Man, they ninja'd that away.
Yeah, that was stealth.
Yeah. All right. Sorry to interrupt, but yeah.
No, you are a co-host right now, so jump in whenever you want. But yeah, Dustin, I agree with you. You put something in the show notes here that PT is now one of the weirdest things ever.
Right?
It
Like-
really is.
Man.
It's like Star Fox 2 now on SNES.
Yeah. Except
It's just one of those things, like, it's floating out there, but it's almost impossible to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody's gonna find a ROM of this in a warehouse somewhere because it was all digital to begin with.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So like, when it comes to like preservation, this could disappear.
Real easily. Yeah.
If people are really worried about preservation, go to Classic Elite or go to youtube.com/Classic Elite and watch Dustin's video on PT, and you can check the game out that way. You can live vicariously through him.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I've been seeing a lot of like people, a lot of like news sites like posting about like the people that are like going out there and like doing like all the data preserve stuff and how like they're getting sued and in trouble for doing it and things like that, but they just like keep on trucking on just trying to save any of that stuff so none of it disappears.
There's in the
like retro games, like saving them onto floppy disks and or like hard drive and things like that, just like keep them around for like Like kind of like these small like video game museums that like exist and things like that.
Yeah, which it's funny. Just the I don't even know if juxtaposition is the right word, but just the fact that it's really strange that all of these digital things that are potentially going to disappear are relying on digital media to stay alive. You know,
Yeah.
it's just weird the way that that's kind of worked out. So.
Yep.
And then, Dustin, you also had some news about Konami.
Yeah, they voluntarily delisted themselves from the New York Stock Exchange.
So my portfolio is now toast.
So I honestly don't understand the stock exchange well enough to discuss the implications of this. But
Dustin, you're a little hot. Can you put your windscreen back on?
sorry, I was trying to go with that as
Or just sit back from the mic. You were just coming in hot. That's all.
I like to eat the microphone when I speak.
Yeah. Well, it's not, you have a lovely voice, so it works out.
But yeah, apparently things are going well at Konami.
No.
So
Well, in terms of their video game stuff.
yeah, I mean, like they have pachinko parlors and life insurance and health spas and probably like car repair or something weird in Japan. But like I typically tend to get a little I get a little sad when I hear stuff about like Konami and Capcom screwing the pooch so royally.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time,
Sega too.
yeah, at the same time the people who made the great games that we remember,
They're not there anymore.
they're not there anymore, and they're off doing stuff that's awesome now because like the time that it sucks that Konami's going through all this, but at the same time we're getting a Mighty Number 9 release date.
Yeah,
So-
well, that's Capcom, but I know what you
Right,
mean.
but I mean, like KJ Inafune gets booted from Capcom, but he's still making awesome stuff. So
Yeah, exactly.
While we may be losing touchstones as far as company names, people are still being awesome artists and making great stuff.
Exactly. That talent still exists. It's just under a different publisher or whatnot.
Yeah.
So, which is awesome. And then, Dave, I'm glad that we have you on the show for the next bit of news because I feel like you'll have plenty to say about it. But I really wanted to give kind of my 2 cents on the Valve fiasco with paid mods. During the last episode, Dave, you commented while we were live streaming and brought it to our attention that Valve was going to be having mods. Right? Oh, we lose Dave? He'll be back in a second. So, Dustin, you and I both, without, I guess without having any information, we were at face value pretty in favor of the mods being paid, right?
Yeah, we were slightly above indifferent, I think.
But in general, I think that it's a good idea. Now, the way that it was implemented was really atrocious. And I can understand why people were so upset because Skyrim had such a big modding community and people were used to the free mods or whatnot. So the fact that they seem to try to nickel and dime Skyrim users probably wasn't the best idea. Oh, crap. I did it again. There we go. So I don't know, like, I'm still in favor of paid mods. I think that it's a really cool thing to have developers have maybe the potential to get a start, put some stuff out there. But that just doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know, like, now that you have more information on it, what do you think?
Yeah, it does sound like they perhaps went... It wasn't like they slowly implemented something. It was like they just flipped a switch.
Yeah.
And it really didn't think of how it was going to like the guys at Giant Bomb were talking about how people were just kind of like taking mods someone else made and then putting those up.
Yeah, which that never even occurred to me. That is gross.
Yeah,
Someone just stealing other property. Like my whole position in being supportive of this is due to the fact that people are making stuff and being able to get compensated for it. Like it just inherently, that's something I support. And to have somebody steal other people's work and put it up as their own is just gross.
Yeah.
But it's just, I wish that they would have done what you were saying and taken a bit of a slower approach to it instead of just flipping a switch.
Yeah.
And it would have been cool to see. Everyone keeps throwing out Fallout 4 as that would have been the better option for them to, even though that game's not announced yet, we all know it's coming.
Yeah.
That's not announced, right?
Not yet.
Not yet, so.
Not that I'm aware of.
But it would have been better to have the backlash be with people saying, oh, now that you're just taking advantage of us with a new game instead of taking advantage of people with an existing game. Okay. We lost Dave, so we're trying to get him back here.
He says, I think my internet died 1 second.
Okay. So I don't know. But I guess I'm not articulating it all that well. But essentially I wanted to say that I'm bummed that it was such a flop because it's a cool thing to have a community-driven opportunity for people to make money while they're making stuff and maybe even support themselves.
Yeah. I think if they like just roll it out in a different way, maybe retinker it, maybe do like pay what you want.
Yeah, like Bandcamp does that.
Yeah.
Where Bandcamp, if you're an artist, you can set a monetary limit for your money, or you can have a donation option of a pay what you want. And I think
that's awesome.
And I think that you, as the developer, should have the choice to determine whether or not you feel like your mod should be pay what you want, or if it should be a minimum of $5 or $2 or whatever it is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't. It's just I have all this faith in Steam and Valve, and they do some stuff that is just frustrating. You can tell that they're a flat organization, even though they're really big, because stuff is half-baked sometimes when it rolls out.
Yeah.
You know, look at early access. Remember what an issue that was with early access games showing up like they were brand new and full games ready to go? I mean, that's why I own AudioSurf too.
Yeah.
I thought it was out. And I bought a $15 beta, you know, or actually an alpha. That thing was rough when I first got it. So, yeah, it's just a bummer that it didn't work out any better. So, well, let's move on from that. Unless you have anything else that you wanted to say.
I think now that they've got kind of an idea of what not to do, when they retry it, it'll be better.
Yeah.
Definitely. And I definitely don't think it's okay, we're never going to try this again kind of thing.
And then some good news, because we have some good news on the way here before. Actually, there's one bit of bad news here that I wanted to mention, and then we'll talk about nothing but good news stuff from here on out. I've mentioned this guy before, and I also mentioned him in my video review of Pure Solar. There was a guy, his name was Tim Maurer. He went by the handle Tim333, and he was the main author of the strategy guide for Pure Solar. And he just passed away in March, I found out.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so I just wanted to say that my thoughts are with his family. That has to be really tough. He was a relatively young person, so... and I don't know exactly what happened or anything like that, but I just know that... Watermelon, I was on their website. I was on magicalgamefactory.com just checking in on my orders that I placed 3 years ago just to see if there was any sort of an update. And I noticed that unfortunately, he had passed away. They had a post about him, and he was a major contributor to it. So, just wanted to say, Tim333, you will be missed, and he saved me a tremendous amount of aggravation. So, I really appreciate what he did for Pure Solar. So, okay, let's move on to some good stuff. Dustin, Mighty Number 9 is getting a release date, or not getting, has a release date. But it's not until September.
That's all right.
Will this be a game that you will be getting day one, do you think? You didn't do the Kickstarter, did you?
I did not.
Okay. You think you'll get it right away?
I don't see why not. Yeah.
Okay. I think I will
$1
also.
million.
No, it shouldn't be. I also heard a rumor that they're going to have physical copies
That'd be cool.
for like the Wii U, for example.
I'd buy that.
How great would it be to have a physical copy of Mighty Number 9?
Yeah.
Be like having Mega Man all over again. And he's back.
Yay!
Sorry, guys.
That's no problem.
Can you guys hear a background noise by any chance?
Slightly, but don't worry about it.
Okay. All right.
But yeah, we're talking about.
So Valve.
Oh yeah, so you missed our whole
Sorry.
our whole thing. Basically, what I said was I was in support of paid mods. I like the idea in general, and was just really disappointed with how it was implemented in the game that they chose to implement it. I don't know what are your thoughts, Dave?
Mine. I like the idea of a tip jar.
Okay.
I like the idea of a tip jar. I mean, like, for me, I don't have Skyrim on PC, so, like, that wasn't, like, my thing. But for me, like, say I just had a conversation with a friend about some mod that he plays on Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, oh, you must download this. And I'm like, okay. And then you get home to find out that there's a price tag on it when you go to download it. Like, that was just my thought on it. It was just like, oh, so now I feel like I would just be really irritated if that happened to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm just so used to just downloading that stuff for free.
Mm-hmm.
And then, you know, and to the prime person that I spoke to this about was my father-in-law, actually. Because he's like an old school PC gamer, you know, had old computer, played Doom and Duke Nukem on it and that kind of stuff. And when I told him about that, he was just like, I swear.
Yeah.
Okay. He's just like, are you fucking kidding me? He was just like, what
Oh, his internet cut out again.
happened while I've been away from PC gaming?
Yeah.
But yeah, he was just like, what happened while I haven't been in the modding community? He was so boggled by it, and like his reaction was just kind of how I felt, but just not as much. Like, I was kind of mad about it because, again, like, I like the idea of a tip jar. Like, I don't really use mods very often, so I mean it's fine. I don't use them often, but I like them. But it's just, for me, I think a tip jar would. And I'm using a mod and I'm getting a lot of use out of it. I can think of a couple mods I use offhand, one of them being for Torchlight 2, that you might as well consider an expansion. I would probably give the guy $10 or $15 for it because of how much I like it. And, you know, that's just my spot on it.
Yeah, and while you were trying to kickstart your router, Dustin basically said the same thing, that he was in favor of a donation opportunity. And I don't know if a lot of people probably aren't real familiar with the way that Bandcamp works for musicians.
Yeah.
But I really like their system of being able to have the artist determine if there is going to be a minimum price or if it's going to be name your price. I think that's a really cool thing. Just give it to the artist, let them choose, and go from there. So. And then the next thing we were talking about is Mighty Number 9. It has a release date of September, and you're finally right.
Yeah, I kickstarted that. I'm waiting. But now they're gonna do a physical release, so now I have to face.
Yeah, I heard that they're gonna do a physical release, and so are you second guessing it then? The fact that you now are gonna have a PC version.
No, what I planned on doing was I was either gonna have it for because I think they're making a Vita version now. I was either gonna have my copy be a PC or a Vita version.
Okay.
Or,
Cool.
or PC, Vita, or PS4 version. So what I'm gonna do is I'll probably just end up putting on my PC, and then I'm gonna pick up. I want to be able to have like I like having physical things in my hands, like a hard copy of something. So I will get PS4 hard copy of it. I'm still mad that I didn't get like the Retro City Rampage for Vita. It goes for so much money.
Oh, does it? I guess I'm not
so much money.
Wow. I remember when it first came out, Mike T gave us a big heads up about that. So, cool. Well, yeah, that's awesome stuff. And then more good news. Dustin, Just Cause 3 is available for pre-order.
That's right.
When's the release date for that?
I don't even know. But listen.
The fall, probably.
Wingsuits, explosions, grappling hooks, explosions, cars, being grappled together and then exploding. All these
Grappling to
things.
helicopters. That game is bonkers. I've never personally played it, but I got a lot of enjoyment of watching people
Yeah, exactly.
play that game. I've never personally played it.
Yeah, that's my experience as well, is just seeing other people play it. Particularly Dustin. He put some Just Cause shenanigans on our YouTube channel, and it was great. I'm very much looking forward to your new videos that you're going to be making, Dustin.
Yeah, and it's going to be even easier for me to do that now that it has the PS4 has the records 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just if anything crazy happens, I could just automatically go back and grab it.
Yeah. So that's. I mean, what? I guess you've named everything that you're pretty excited for, right?
Yeah.
Explosions, grappling hooks. What's a wingsuit? You mean like a skydiver suit?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. So you look like a flying squirrel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Except Latino and awesome.
Very cool.
Le squirrel.
And then
I don't know the Spanish word for squirrel.
I don't either. How do you say in Spanish? Como se squirrel in Espanol? Would that be correct? I don't know. My Spanish is so horrible. So apologize for anybody that we offended there. But Dustin, the biggest news that is on our notes from just a personal perspective has got to be that there's a rumor of a spiritual successor to Castlevania.
That's right. Right now you can go to swordorwhip.com and there is a portrait of someone who looks like Koji Igarashi, and it says you may now vote again, or you may now vote, choose wisely, and you can choose sword or a whip.
Okay, so sword or whip. Oh boy, that probably came through on OBS. Sorry. So if you go to swordorwhip.com, there's going to be sounds playing just as a heads up. So if you have earphones in, public service announcement there. I'm going to vote whip. Justin, what about you?
Oh, whip. Whip all the way.
All the way. Whip all the way. What about you, Dave?
I have to say sword.
Oh. Is it because of Symphony of the Night?
Yeah. I love Symphony of the Night. I love Symphony of the Night so much.
That's understandable.
Yeah.
It's one
I
of the
mean,
greatest games ever.
yeah, it from what I understand, it is.
But I've really played them. Symphony of the Night and what is it, Lords of Shadow on PS3 and 360 are the only ones I've actually really gotten a chance to sit down and play, in one of the PS2 ones.
Cool. So yeah, Dustin, is there? Have you heard any rumors as far as time frames are concerned with the potential of this new Castlevania?
No, it's basically just this website. There's no telling. It
Okay.
could go absolutely nowhere.
Yeah, it's exciting to think about. Just
Yeah, definitely.
an 8 or 16-bit style Castlevania guy, and he's the original guy, right?
Yep. Well, he was I think he was the producer on Rondo of Blood, which
Oh, okay.
was the TGCD Castlevania, and then he jumped on as director for Symphony of the Night, and then he was all in from that point forward up until they gave it to Mercury Steam.
Cool. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about before we all talk about what we've been playing is did you guys see that PC gaming is getting their own E3 press conference?
Yeah, I'm excited. I want to know what's in that.
A lot of big publishers like Square Enix and Blizzard will be there for it. It seems like it's going to be an AMD slant. I don't think Nvidia is going to be involved in it. So keep that in mind. If
Really
you're
surprised that it was AMD. I was
good for them.
yeah, that really shocked me.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I'm an AMD guy, but you know.
I'm a
That's me.
good graphics card. Yeah, I just like good graphics cards, and I think both of them can produce good graphics cards, AMD
Absolutely.
and Nvidia. So
As long as the product works, I don't care.
yeah, for me, I have an AMD video card, and it's worked great. So, and I know I think Josh might have a Nvidia card. So we love them all around here. Dustin, you're a AMD guy, right? Don't you have like a 7870 or something like that?
Yeah.
Cool. So, yeah, Dave, I'm with you. I just want to see what they're going to talk about. What kind of announcements they're going to have? Are they going to have indie slants, big slants?
So it's AMD and who? It's AMD and who? That's
PC Gamer? Yeah. Yeah, I think it's PC Gamer Magazine.
Okay. Interesting.
So.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming Steam machines of some kind might be shown.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently, yeah, Steam machine. Yeah, you haven't heard about those in a while.
Forgot about those.
I know. I can imagine that they're gonna get talked about. I would think that maybe because Good Old Games just launched or GOG launched their like Steam client in beta. I'm wondering if they may talk about that a little bit. Those are the two main things that I would like to hear about or see.
Cool. So yeah, that's the news. So now we're going to talk about what we've been playing. So Dustin, let's just keep going with a Dustin heavy segment. And what have you been up to, man?
Well, I played a little bit of handheld because I hate it so much. I pulled out.
You're like doomed. You're doomed to play handhelds now that you've like made that proclamation.
Yeah.
They're just gonna pop up with watch this new Castlevania game come out only on like 3DS.
Oh, I'll buy one immediately. But yeah, I let's see. It was the guys over at GameSack on YouTube and Retronauts were both talking about the Neo Geo Pocket.
Okay.
And it got me wanting to play my Neo Geo Pocket Color. So I pulled that out, and I was playing some Dark Arms Beast Buster 1999.
I've never heard of this game. I saw it on the show notes.
It's a game about... you're basically just building up your weapons. There's some sort of story about how... if you're making some contract with the master to go into some dark dimension to do stuff, I don't know. It's you fight enemies and you use the stuff that you get from fighting enemies to build weapons.
Okay.
And it's all right. I thought I was going to get into it a little bit more, but once I realized it's basically just you building up weapons, I kind of lost a little bit of interest, and my first boss fight, he actually got stuck on some of the level.
Oh.
So he was just like standing in one spot, and I just shot him over and over. So And it doesn't help that the Neo Geo Pocket Color, which actually I have it right here.
Oh, sweet.
The screen's a little smaller than I remembered, and it's not backlit.
Oh.
So it's like old school Nintendo.
Yeah.
Old school Game Boy, like trying to find just the right kind of light source. So I didn't play as much of that as I thought I would when I first booted it up, but it's still pretty cool. After that, I started playing. I listed these chronologically, but I actually started playing Mega Man 9 first because Solomon's been on a Mega Man kick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he not so much playing the games. I had some figurines in my office, like these little Mega Man figurines that I've owned for decades at this point. And he saw them and loved them because they're just these little toys, right?
Yeah.
So I handed them to him, and like he started learning the names. Like it's Elecman, Iceman, Cutman, and Mega Man.
Sweet.
And he loves having his Mega Man around with him. He knows Mega Man. He knows Cutman. He has a little trouble with Elecman, but that's because he has a stupid name. So I started showing him the Mega Man cartoon that came out in the 90s.
With the oh no, I'm thinking of Captain N, where he had like the smoker's voice.
Right? He was like 2 feet tall and
yeah,
for some reason. But no, there's a pretty alright Mega Man cartoon, and there's quite a few episodes up on YouTube. That's how I've been showing them to him.
Cool.
And he's been really digging that, so I've been wanting to play the games. So I pulled out Mega Man 9 because I never beat that. And I bought it back in like 2011 when that came out. And that game is great.
It's really, really good. It's funny, my brother sent me a text over the weekend when I was at the wedding, and while I was there, he's like, Mega Man 9, is it fun or just hard? And I just wrote back both.
Yeah, yes, that's right. I think I may have committed most of the game to muscle memory so far, because I remember trying over and over and over on Tornado Man, and it only took me like 3 or 4 times to get through that level, and I beat him with my Mega Buster.
Really?
I beat him, Galaxy Man, and Concrete Man with my Mega Buster.
I remember starting with Splash Woman. I remember liking her scepter power.
Yeah.
'Cause it reminded me of the Metal Blade a little bit.
I think I've beaten her before, but it was, I think, my old PlayStation 3 that got either broken or stolen. I've had horrible luck with those things. But yeah, I haven't. I think I've beat those 3 people. I haven't gotten any far.
Okay, cool.
Which one was this one, Mega Man 9?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been playing on the PS3.
That game makes me want to bang my head against the desk.
It's quite good though. I like it is, but it's good. I played it on Wii U, or not Wii U. I'm lying. I played it on Wii. Look! Nintendo's branding's finally worked. I said Wii U instead of Wii. They've won. No, Mega Man 9 is awesome, but you've also been playing Mega Man 4?
Yeah. Mega Man 4, I picked that up off of the Wii Virtual Console a million years ago. I think they were doing like a special or something. Maybe? It was like years ago.
I think you might have... Oh, okay. I was going to say, I don't remember that game going on sale. It's worth the $5 though to get it.
Yeah, maybe they just put up a bunch of them at one time, and I was like, oh, well, I've never played that. I'll buy it. But people usually say Mega Man 4 is where it starts to go downhill, and I can totally see that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you end up with an overabundance of lives and E-tanks.
Okay. Well, that sounds great for a Mega Man game, actually.
It does, but...
Sound better for an X game.
Yeah.
It is... I think it's because the game has cheap deaths.
Oh, it does. That sucks.
Yeah, like I was playing the Dive Man stage, and you know when you...
No, I haven't played the...
If you in any of the games, if you jump and hit one of the parts that scrolls, you'll stay up at that part and kind of scroll over, and then you'll be in the playfield on the other side, and like you can do that with the boss doors.
Yeah.
Right.
I was in Dive Men stage, and this was like Demon Souls-esque in how it was literally setting you up to die on purpose. There was this one area where there's this enemy coming this way, so I jumped up and hit the scroll part up here, and I scrolled into the next screen directly on top of spikes.
Oh,
Killed me instantly.
that
And
sucks.
It's just the level design in that game is kind of like that, where it'll just kill you. I think it was another stage where I was falling down, and when I fell down, it was the next screen. I was directly above spikes.
And
barely
usually
had
in like Mega Man 2, when you would fall and there would be spikes below you, it was
Have some time.
yeah, it was relatively fair. Exactly.
Yeah. This it does not. So, but I've almost beat all the Robot Masters.
Nice. Okay.
Nice.
The
And what platform you said Wii U you're playing this on?
yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because they released it so you can play, like, you can get it for like $1 if you own it on Virtual Console.
Oh, gotcha.
You pay $1 and you can play it on your Wii U gamepad.
I really wish this was cross-buy because I bought 1 through 6 on my 3DS.
Oh, bummer. Yeah.
Which,
Are they doing the X games on eShop yet?
I think
Yeah,
1 through 3.
yeah, I think those are on there.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm almost positive I have Mega Man
I saw
X.
0 on there for the GBA.
Okay,
But I have like the DS collection one, so yeah.
cool.
Yeah, because after 3, it goes to PlayStation 1.
Right.
And keeping in the retro platformer, I've been playing Rogue Legacy.
Yes! Me too, actually.
And that game is good. Like, I know I've said it was good last time, but it's really good.
You put up a video of beating... You are a skilled platformer, man.
Thank you. What that video does not show is like the 50 previous deaths.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many times it took me to beat
You
that.
made it look freaking easy, and I know how hard that boss is to beat that second time when it's on neon like that. Like, that's nuts, dude. My hat is off to you.
I was like, man, I started playing. I was like, I'm not going to stop until I beat this,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm going to put that video up on YouTube. And that was like that was my carrot on the stick. Like,
Dude, that's how I was with Ori and the Blind Forest.
yeah,
When I was at that water level, I was like, hey, I'm recording this because I want proof that I beat it. So actually, last night I was playing Rogue Legacy. So my friend John, who I've talked about on the show before, we went out for a couple of drinks after work yesterday. And when we got done hanging out at B-Dubs, BW3's, he's like, hey, do you want to come over and play some games? I'm like, yeah, that sounds great. I'm like, Rogue Legacy? He's like, absolutely. So the two of us are the only two that have played it on his system, and we only play it together, and we've gotten through the third boss. And last night we kept getting to the third boss and dying. So I was like, dude, I'm not leaving your house until we finally beat this third boss. So, but he did that thing. You know how you can lock the level so you can immediately warp back to the boss so you can like retry over and over? He just rushed and skipped and lost our progress at one point. So we call it a boss run or a gold run. So either farming for gold or we're trying to kill the boss. And in the middle of a boss run, he didn't lock the level, and I wasn't paying attention either, so it was a bit of a bummer. But Rogue Legacy is just, damn, that's a good game.
I still haven't beaten it. I'm in the dungeon right now.
Okay.
But I like literally unlocked it and I just haven't picked it back up. I originally bought it for PC a long time ago. It was like, I think, probably during my first Steam sale. Rest in peace. And I didn't get too far into it, that one. I don't even think I beat the second boss on the PC version. But when it came out for PS4, Vita, and all that, like, I found a lot of time to play that on Vita. A lot of time to play that on my Vita.
One of them, the podcasts I listened to the most, when it was out on Vita, he played it all the time on Vita. There were several shows in a row where he talked about it. And it just feels like a perfect platform for that game.
But Vita is literally my JRPG and indie machine. I mean, that's all that really comes out for it these days, anyway. But
Hey, those are
that's
great
one of
games.
the-
Those are
Yeah,
still
absolutely.
good genres. So,
Mhm.
and then Dustin, what the heck is this question you got here?
Oh yeah, I wanted to ask you guys: do you, or did you rather, enjoy taking tests like in school?
No.
Not particularly. It would
No.
depend on the subject matter. So, and this is going to sound weird. I enjoyed probability and statistics tests
Mm-hmm.
because I really liked that kind of math, and it would like you were looking for oil derricks or whatever and where to drill, and you'd come up with the probability of hitting oil based on the information that you have. I always found those to be really interesting kind of word problems, so I liked those. But for the most part, no, I would get anxiety about studying the wrong thing and all that kind of stuff. So in general, I didn't care for them.
Yep.
But-
I take it back. History tests. I like history tests because I loved history. That was the only class I really paid attention to. But
There you go.
history.
So why are you asking this? I gotta.
I just like I didn't even know there was such a thing as test anxiety until I got into college. Like I've always enjoyed taking tests.
Really, like, just to prove yourself, like, I got
Yeah,
this.
Like I enjoyed the challenge.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought maybe that was from playing video games, and I wanted to see if it was like, because for me, like the class is the level and the test is the boss fight, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's kind of the way I see it. So I always enjoyed the challenge of it.
But is that going away? Because you said until you got to college.
Oh no, I just like people started talking about test anxiety. I was like, what the hell is that?
You wimps.
But I have my buddy's wife. Like, yeah, she has to like medicate to take it.
To like take a Xanax to like take a test.
Yeah, there's people that
Damn.
have to do that. I mean, I don't have it that bad, but I'm just a really bad test taker. I'm just one of those people that I can remember everything, and then like once I'm in a pressured situation, it's just brain dump. Just
Yeah, just
done.
choke.
Just brain dump.
Yeah. I was okay at taking tests, but there were some that I would just get real anxious at, and I got more so in college than in school, regular school, because I'm not gonna lie, there were some times where I would skip a class or two in college, and so then I would be worried that I would be missing something that I missed in class when I wasn't there. So, but yeah, man, I used to get mild test anxiety. And I can't say I really enjoyed them other than maybe some math tests, which sounds weird. I thought you were going to say, yeah, so I didn't know what test anxiety was, and then all of a sudden I got riddled with it. No, you're just a tough guy. Of course, you served two tours, so that's like real anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if I'm good at taking tests, but at the same time, I have a lot of difficulty bridging book knowledge and practical application. So I wonder if that's like my downfall.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
So like when I learn something from a book and I'm like supposed to do it, I'm like, wait, what? What am I supposed to do again?
I think that's kind of natural, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
You just find your own rhythm to do something. As long as you get the correct answer, it's whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, and like, that probably just means that you're a hands-on learner.
Definitely.
You know, so cool. Anything else that you wanted to chat about before I jumped into what I've been playing?
Mega Man 4 Ring Man is garbage. Like that was the first level I played through, and it sucked.
What's the boss's name?
Ring Man.
Ring Man.
Yeah. And here's what's really stupid is I got through the level, which was really hard, and I had only a few hit points left, so I got in there and he killed me. But in the 15 seconds that I saw of him, I learned his pattern. That's how easy he was.
Oh, that's a bummer.
Yeah.
Just because you're not used to it having peaks and valleys like that. The difficulty is usually like a nice steady curve to it.
Yeah. I guess it just goes to show you how good Mega Man 2 and 3 are.
Yeah, I really need to play a lot more Mega Man 3. I'm really familiar with the music of Mega Man 3, but I never played it a whole lot, so I really need to get on that.
Same here.
And well, actually, speaking of Mega Man, Dustin, I've been playing Mega Man as well.
On difficult.
I played Mega Man 2 on difficult.
What was it like?
It's not that bad. I was always too scared to play it on difficult.
Yeah.
It's really not too bad. I am having a little trouble. Right now I'm to the section where you have to do all the bosses over again.
Oh, all right.
And I've run out of some of the juice or the energy that I need to do the rock, paper, scissors.
Okay.
So I have to Mega Buster some of these guys.
All
and
right.
that gets like really, really hard. So, but it's totally doable. You could easily do it. And I'm surprised that you had the reaction you did. I thought for sure you'd say, "Oh, well, yeah, doesn't everyone play Mega Man 2 on difficult?" True
I
story,
blinded
man.
myself in one eye while playing it on difficult, just to make it more difficult.
Just to make it more difficult.
Played it one-handed.
Yeah.
Hey, here's for anybody who wants to make a game more difficult, play it with a 2-year-old in the room.
Oh, okay. I believe that.
Yeah.
2-year-olds, where do they have all the energy? They're so little.
They siphon it from their parents.
Oh, okay.
So true.
Also, I played some Deus Ex Human Revolution. I don't know why I got the urge to want to play kind of a bigger AAA game.
Did you watch the new trailer for the new one? Is that why?
It was in the news. No, and I didn't watch the new trailer. But I felt like it's definitely a game that I felt like I was missing out on.
Yeah. The
I
trailer
didn't-
one made me want to play Human Revolution, so that's why I asked.
Okay, I didn't care for it that much. Like, it seems like there's some stealth elements to it, and I'm dying too easy. Like, I stink at first person shooters, so I don't think that's a game for me.
Have you gotten to a boss fight yet?
No.
The main gripe I hear about that game is boss fights.
Okay. I just didn't feel like I was good enough to play it. And I even changed the difficulty to casual, and the description of that difficulty setting is tell me a story. And I couldn't even do that. So I got frustrated and shut it off.
That game has a really weird, like, inverted difficulty curve. Like, it's like really hard at the beginning and kind of gets easy as you level up.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, did you make it past like the first big, like where you had to come back into the police station?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No, I mean, when I'm saying about 20 minutes, I mean, really, I made it about 20 minutes. I died several times and was like, you know what, I'm not having any fun with this. It looks pretty and it runs really well.
Yeah, and I remember that game being really stiff. The controls were really stiff.
Oh, I'm playing with the mouse and keyboard, so they didn't feel stiff to me.
Okay.
But you probably know better than I would, so.
The big positive I hear about that game most of the time, because I've personally never played it, is just like the world you're in. That's like the big thing that people tell me about, like just the music, the atmosphere, just the environment that you're in all the time.
Mhm.
It's basically what I average or not.
Gotcha. So. And then also, I watched the Final Four of Heroes of the Dorm, which was the Heroes of the Storm thing from Blizzard, and I loved it. They did a pretty good job. I had a few minor gripes with it, but overall, I thought they did a really nice job. I missed the finals because Game of Thrones was on, so I didn't watch the final match. But I guess I shouldn't be that surprised, but like general like watchers of ESPN2 were like pissed that video games were on ESPN2.
Well, that's what happened with the Dota 2 thing too, wasn't it? I think it was on ESPN 3, and everyone was just like,
Yeah, and the difference with that is ESPN3 is online. Yeah, and ESPN is online only, so that seemed to be more acceptable. But ESPN2 is normal broadcast. So
Right.
so it was up on your actual TV.
Was it live streamed also, or was it only on ESPN?
It was only on ESPN. I mean, it was live streamed through ESPN, but it wasn't on Twitch. So, but the overall response was positive. So that was cool. I'd like to see more of it. And they had my favorite Blizzard personality, and he doesn't work for Blizzard. He just does a lot of Blizzard stuff. Is Day 9. He's my favorite. So he did stuff with it and did a really good job, and I was happy to see that. So that was cool. And then also, I bought Crypt of the Necro Dancer.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen much about this game?
I've heard a little bit about it, but I haven't seen anything on it.
So, okay, you just use the up, down, left, right keys, which is weird.
Uh-huh.
And it's on your keyboard. So you can't use like a gamepad or anything with this game.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes you have to hit up and down at the same time in order to have certain things happen. But basically, it's like Zelda meets Guitar Hero.
Okay.
Which you almost have to play the game to understand what I'm talking about. But you jump around and you move on the beat of the song. And then after you're like moving around and whatnot, you run into an enemy and there isn't even an attack option.
Mm-hmm.
You just run into them the way you would with some old NES games or Atari games. Just when you're next to them, you run into them more and you attack. And sometimes you hit them and sometimes you don't. And you can upgrade your items and level up and unlock new zones. I'm having a hard time getting into the game, though, but I hear about how amazing it is. So I want to keep plugging away at it. But,
I'm sorry, which game is this again?
Crypt of the Necro Dancer.
Oh, I've been playing that.
Oh, you have?
Mm-hmm.
How do you like it?
My girlfriend actually picked it up when it was about 6 months ago in early access.
Mm-hmm.
She talked it up a lot. She typically hates roguelike games. So she got it because it was like a rhythm-based game. She read it and she was just like, oh, the premise sounds really cool. And just bought it that way. And then she had me try it, and then I ended up buying it. I find it really fun when you're just kind of like doing like the regular zone stuff. I'm having trouble when you're doing like the story mode, when you actually have to like go through every single zone and like beat it that way, because it's hard to like keep up, and it's basically the game on hard mode, just trying to play the entire game all the way through every single zone.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm having a little... The music is fantastic. It's Danny Baranowski, the guy that did Super Meat Boy, and he did Binding of Isaac too, didn't he?
That sounds right.
I think so. Dave would know, but his poor internet. We'll have to get him a new router. But yeah, Crypt of the Necro Dancer is okay. Most people seem to really love it. So, also, I bought Nidhogg. It was $3. Have you ever played Nidhogg, Dustin?
No, but I've seen gameplay of it.
It's like that Atari fencing game.
Yeah.
It's really fun. So I bought it just in case I'm gonna play it someday. And I know that's kind of what every game is, but there are times where I'll be having friends over or whatnot, and it's like, let's play a game, and everyone's like, well, what games do you have that are local co-op? And it's like fighting games like Street Fighter, Soul Calibur, maybe Tiger Woods, stuff like that. So this will be really cool to have as far as another one is concerned. My Nintendo Rewards t-shirt showed up, so that's cool.
Was it everything you hoped for?
No, it wasn't as good as the other one.
Oh, no.
Like, Mario's too big on the side. Like, I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle.
Uh-huh.
And it's just on the side of your body is just this gigantic freaking Mario. It's just kind of weird. But I'm glad I have
the other
it.
one that you wanted?
No, the other one, I got it 2 years ago or so. And it had a whole bunch of sprites from the first NES game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I own that one.
So, yeah, okay, cool.
That one's really good.
Yeah, and so this one isn't as good as that one. And then, holy crap, I should have led with this. Now I'm looking through my show notes, and I can tell that I just randomly was putting stuff in.
Yeah.
because Mario Kart 200cc is out, and the new DLC. So the new levels are awesome. New characters are fun. 200cc is wicked fast. It's a whole different game, man.
All right.
So I've really enjoyed playing that. It's hard as hell, but really fun to get into. And it's amazing. Mario Kart has this amazing ability to feel really hard, and because of the repetition and the levels being relatively short, you learn the nuances of the tracks and whatnot. So you feel this really addictive progression, even though you're not really doing anything differently, but you feel like you're getting better and better and better, and the game just starts to slow down for you.
Yeah.
Like 200cc felt impossible at first. I'm like, this is broken. I can't believe they did this. And now I'm like zipping through it, and it's pretty cool. And then the last thing I wanted to talk about was my friend's PS4 controller kind of crapped out on him. Mm-hmm. One of the, I think it's like the left or the right trigger, or not trigger, but the thumbstick, when you press down, doesn't work. So he let me borrow it. So I've been playing my NES emulator with a PS4 controller. And I am now confident that I have found a solution that allows me to beat Contra without the code and not have to have the cart inserted.
Huh.
Like, I can beat the game now without the code in an emulator, which I've never been able to do before.
Right on.
So, yeah, and I mentioned that there was no gaming in Rhode Island, so, okay, well then, there's a little bit left that I wanted to cover. We've got some YouTube stuff that I wanted to go over. So like just a second here. Okay, this drives me nuts. If this person, based on the name on YouTube, their English isn't their native language. But I'm still not giving him a pass because I think I've got one of the dumbest questions I've ever gotten on YouTube.
Wow.
So this person says, I know SSD brand, but what is the model? The title of the video is the model of the SSD. Like, I don't even know how to respond. I just face-palmed. I'm like, oh my God. What? I want to mark him as spam. It was such a bad question. He put a smiley face, which I don't know why, but that irritated me even more. So, anyways. So, going back to last week's episode, our buddy Demez wrote in, or left some comments. He's excited about the Telltale Marvel game, which we had talked about, which potentially is really, really cool. I think should be pretty awesome. Jason Heine's game, Dustin, that we talked about, I thought it was called Horizon something. Mm-hmm. It's called Horizon Shift, and he's the one that's in charge of making the music for it.
Okay.
And then he also says that I was totally right about the Black Rock Mountain difficulty in Hearthstone. The easy is easy, which he says I like because I don't like playing the part. I just want the cards. He says, but hard is stupid. And you need to totally redo your decks and all that kind of stuff. So he agreed with me that easy was good to have as easy, but hard was a little too hard. And I think he wanted to, with, like me, see maybe a third tier difficulty, maybe kind of a medium setting, but maybe that's just too challenging for them to program. It sounds easy, but it's probably super complicated and extremely difficult. So yeah, that should do it for the show. Unless, Dave, are there any games you've been playing that you're just dying to talk about that you haven't gotten to yet?
I played Diablo 2 again today.
Oh, kicking it old school.
On a channel that I stream for, we have like a theme day thing now. And Thursdays are Throwback Thursdays. And I'm someone that likes to just kind of investigate and try out older PC games and stuff like that. I mean, Diablo 2 is just something that I grew up on anyway. But I like playing, what makes PC gaming so popular from back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like a laundry list of games for that, and it's funny because I have people a little younger than me, a little older than me. I don't have old PC games, stuff like that. I'm like, why not? But yeah, I've been played Diablo 2 today. Finished the entire Act 1 of that, and it was just fun playing that again. My girlfriend's just like, this game looks really dated. I'm like, it is so still fun.
Yeah.
It's still better than Halo 3. Playing a lot of Smite. That's just my MOBA that I play. God. Have any of you guys played Darkest Dungeon?
Nope. Or I haven't.
It's an early access game. Really, really, really hard turn-based roguelike game. And it's... I would need a whole entire podcast to explain this game. But
Okay.
a quick gist of it. It's like a turn-based thing, and it's really like really dark game. It's a very dark theme. Basically, you're going back to an old estate that you claim because your relative died. And like your characters during and after and before every dungeon have like sanity levels for all the characters that you hire. They're like mercenaries that you hire to go through this dungeon that's under your manor that you've inherited. They like have like sanity levels, and like so many different things can happen. Like there's different perks. They have like every phobias in the game. Like a character can have arachnophobia. Say they're like the frontline person in the party that you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If you're fighting a thing of spiders, they'll freak out and go to the back row and send your second row person in the front row.
Gotcha.
And like it just does like a bunch of crazy stuff like that. And like at the end of every dungeon, if you make it through, because this game's really hard, it is a really hard game. You'll gain like stats that can either make it better or worse. Like one time I got a character, like they got lockjaw after like a dungeon that I did, so then their speed and damage was lowered because of that from that point on. There's ways you can remove it, but you have basically like an old way to remove diseases like back in the day in like medieval times was to torture you, which was weird, but they actually like game, and like that's how you actually lose these perks. So that can happen, but then you could gain a worse perk if you try to because it'll like make them go insane or like something like that. And there's other ways to lower characters' insanity, or sanity, not insanity. You can like have them like go drink or gamble at the bar, go to a brothel, or if they're like a paladin type character, you can send them to the church to pray or meditate or things like that. It's really, really, really good game.
Cool.
I would totally recommend it. I think it's like $25 on Steam. It is early access, and I'm very leery of early access games, but it's a game that's definitely getting plenty of attention from the devs, and it's fairly popular on streamers.
Okay.
So it's getting attention. It's getting attention from the devs, thankfully. Been playing a lot of Marvel Heroes. A lot of Marvel Heroes. I don't know if you've actually ever gone to that game or not.
I've got a few hours into it when it first came out. It was cool.
Okay.
I know they've made a lot of changes since then.
They've made so many more positive changes, because if you played it when it first came out, then I'm sure you know the fact that it was like that game was free to play.
Yeah.
Really free to play. And they fixed a lot of stuff to make it not that way anymore. Like there's an in-game currency you can get now to purchase heroes and stuff like that. They don't actually have to spend money. You have to play the game a fair amount to actually get characters and stuff. Yeah, I haven't really been playing anything new. I have a game or two for my PS4 that I've bought recently, but they're just sitting on my shelf and I haven't touched them yet.
The life of a gamer, right? It just happens, so... Well, good deal. Everyone, this is BiffMcSkylark. Sorry that we've had some audio issues today, but check his stuff out. You can find his, you can find him on Twitter at BiffMcSkylark, and then also Twitch is just twitch.tv/BiffMcSkylark. Are there other places where people can check you out?
I'm on Facebook, but I just link my Twitter and it just feeds my Twitter feed to my Facebook. I don't
Okay.
really give it any attention anymore.
Gotcha.
And then I'm trying to get back into YouTube. It's youtube.com/BiffMcSkylark, but I'm trying to get into it, but it's work in progress.
Gotcha. So cool. Well, we want to thank Damez very much for leaving a comment. And as always, whenever Mike T writes in, I get really excited. He's a really good friend of the show. And I'm pumped to listen to the new Cartoon Retrocast after show that just came out. As always, you can find us on Stitcher. You can find us on iTunes. Also SoundCloud now, so keep an eye out there. And if you are kind enough, please leave us a review. That'd be great. Classic Elite is also on... I didn't mean to say it like that. We're on Twitter. We're Classic Elite. I said that as someone talking in the third person, and that drives me nuts when people do that. So I apologize. But Classic Elite is the name of our show. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, just searching for Classic Elite, and most importantly, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Dustin, this week I think I'm gonna go back and play another song from Saber Pulse from his album Paragon. Probably the song Flight 142. So if you enjoy it, go throw him some money and buy his music from him. It's good stuff. So everyone, sorry that it was kind of a strung together show, but appreciate everyone's patience, and we'll see you next week for episode 139. Thanks for listening.
Boosh.